Hello everyone, so a few days late, but I was finally able to go see Shazam 2, or Shazam Fury of the Gods. This one is 2 hours and 10 minutes long, rated PG-13, directed by David F. Sandberg, and of course, reprising his role as Shazam is Zachary Levi. We got Asher Angel, Jack Dylan Grazer's back within this, and the villains within this are played by Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu. So when I heard that those two were going to be involved in villain roles in this movie, I got pretty excited to go ahead and see this. I did really enjoy the first one, so yes, without further ado, let me get into my review for Shazam Fury of the Gods. So I was ready for this one. I got my Shazam shirt on, went to the theater this afternoon, and yeah, so basically the description of this film is the film continues the story of teenage Billy Batson, who, upon reciting the magic word Shazam, is transformed into his adult superhero alter ego Shazam. So not really much about the plot of this movie going forward, and I'm going to try to keep this as spoiler free as possible, but I do feel like I need to talk about a few things spoiler-ish within the movie, so I'll give you a little bit of heads up when I get into those parts. But yeah, this definitely is going to have some spoilers within it, so you have been warned. Yeah, the plot of this film is that it takes place about 2 years after the events of the first film. The group of, well, of course, the superhero family, the Shazam family, has kind of grown apart a little bit. They all have their own powers and they all have different interests. They're all doing their own things for the most part. And Billy is trying his hardest to keep the family together and basically have this coordinated team, this schedule that they're all based on. And a lot of them just don't want that within their lives. They'll still, of course, do missions all together, but you can tell that they're growing apart a little bit within their personal lives and what they want to do as heroes. But before we get a sense of that, you have an opening scene that really mirrors the kind of the brutality in the first sequence where the first movie where Dr. Savannah goes to the boardroom and kills his brother, kills his father, and everyone else in the boardroom within that company. There's something really similar and almost just as brutal with, again, to the introduction of Helen Mirren's and Lucy Liu's villains, where they walk into a museum and they're going after the staff of Shazam that we see in the first movie. It's been broken apart, it's in the museum, and they just murk everyone in there. They turn them all to stone statues, basically mind control people and turn them into zombies. And yeah, there's some brutality within this movie, which again too I liked. It goes into that darker sense of DC a lot of the time, and it's just how brutal their villains are a lot of the ways. I did really like their introduction, and I thought it was very intimidating. But basically they are on a mission to mend and repair these staff so that they can take the power that the wizard stole from them in order to recreate their homeworld, which they were banished to by the Wizard of Shazam. And they, again, to just wants to get this power back so they can grow and recreate their own worlds. There is a bit of a struggle between Lucy Liu's character and Helen Mirren's character, where they're both doing this for different reasons. We do get near the end of this film, just kind of at the end of the second act, an explanation of what her character wants to achieve. And I did find that this movie definitely didn't really live up to the title of this film, Fury of the Gods, because it's only really one, and at the end of the day, and of course, dude, this is a spoiler, so be warned about this. The only god that they really have to face off against is Lucy Liu. There is no other gods that come into play, and out of these three sisters that we get to see within the film, that the really only threat is Lucy Liu's character at the end of the day. So I just found that the title of this movie definitely made me think that there was going to be a lot more, and they were going to open up the Greek mythos within the DC universe a lot more than what actually happened here. We do get to see lots of really cool creatures from Greek mythology make their way into this world, and I like the explanation that they had around that, why these creatures were making their way into this movie. But again too, they just really, and from the title, just made this movie seem like it was going to be a lot bigger and a lot more connected to the DC universe than what it actually was. I did really like the family dynamic in this, and to me it did capture a lot of the same just kind of magic that first movie did, in terms of, again, making it a family story, making these characters very flawed, very quirky, but just having it work in a lot of ways. It was goofy, but a goofy that really worked for the type of tone that the movie was going for and the characters that they're going for, while still having like that dark aspect of the villains that they're fighting. I do like the villains a little more than Savannah in this film for certain, but I think overall I still like the first Shazam movie a lot more, just in terms of its pacing and the overall product that they're able to achieve. Because there's just a few things in this movie where it's a very rushed and a bit of a sloppy final act within this. And I did find too that the fights were better in the first one than they were in this one. There's some good scenes, like don't get me wrong about that. The CGI is pretty decent, but I found some of it was just a bit of unnecessary slow mo. Some of the camera angles just didn't follow the characters properly. Like I found it did in the first movie or even Man of Steel, where these characters are moving really, really fast. And I just found like the camera guys weren't able to keep up with what the CGI guys wanted to do in that sense. So there were a lot of times where it just felt like the angles weren't properly there. And then one thing too that I really didn't like about this movie is it was there was one thing in particular, and it's product placement and probably one of the worst product placements or use of a product that I've just ever seen in a movie. I've seen a lot of talk about how video games are going to start including ads in like within their games, and I've just seen some really funny ones where people are in the middle of a boss fight in Elden Ring, and then all of a sudden the Whopper 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 commercial will come on, something dumb like that, or something about endless shrimp at Red Lobster, and I felt like this product placement was exactly like that meme, that video that I've seen so many times. And I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I kind of called that they were gonna make a joke about what they were doing. Like they kind of allude to it maybe a minute or two earlier before they do it. But the scene in particular is just one of the worst things that I've ever seen. I did have a good laugh at it, but yeah, in my mind, kind of after it all played out, I just really realized how much I actually hated what they just did and that product placement that they had to put into this movie. Again, too, the pacing's decent. I like the characters. I thought it was funny for the most parts. I had a lot of good laughs. And yeah, no, like, yeah, I know I'm not really selling it too much, but I still did really enjoy this movie. Zachary Levi is amazing. Amazing as Shazam. And I really, really do hope that we get to see more of his Shazam moving forward into the new DC universe. There is two after credit scenes, and I want to say the first one, so the mid credit scene, is definitely worth sticking around for. There's a good scene within it that does allude to a potential future for him in James Gunn's DC universe. And then the second one isn't really worth sticking around for the most part. It had some potential, but it just kind of dropped off, and it ended up more as like a joke after credit scene than something really serious. I find that with this movie, it wasn't really the most needed thing in the world, just because everything is changing and it didn't really do as much to grow the DC universe or tie things in as much as I really wanted it to. I don't know how much was changed with this merger crossover going over, but it is very, very fun for anyone who liked the first Shazam movie. I think you'll have a blast of a time with this one. Captures a lot of just that same tone that I found really, really worked well for the first movie. And with everything taken together, I'm going to have to give Shazam Fury of the Gods a 7 out of 10. I feel like that may be a little bit generous when I look back at it, but I still really, really enjoyed it. I love Zachary Levi Shazam. There's some great things that the movie does, some really good jokes, great family dynamics within it, and some lines that too were just really, really great. It's mostly between Billy and his new foster mom that I just found were very, very heartwarming and just really, really well done. So again, too, that whole family dynamic, I found they captured it very, very well, and that's definitely still remains to be the heart of these Shazam movies. So if you've seen Shazam Fury of the Gods, please let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. And of course, if you like this review, definitely give it a thumbs up. You can check out everything I do on this channel through a playlist down below, and I'll link some up top here for convenience sake. Thank you for subscribing and turn that little ringer on so you know when I upload new videos. And of course, if you want to check out the description of this video on my channel bio, there's a link to the Media Mountain, which is my Discord, where we talk about movies, video games, comic books, TV, pretty much everything that's awesome in this world. So you definitely check it. You can definitely join that amazing community. I'll make it even more amazing than this already. And yeah, just awesome, guys.
I just hope that someone would love me.